All right, so today is grocery day. On Thursdays here in Rock Sound, the nearest grocery store gets a new shipment in, and so that's something to time. You know, if you're getting fruits and vegetables, don't go on Wednesday or Tuesday. You want to wait until Thursday. So I'm going to go in, try to get some avocados, some oranges, apples, onions, just some fresh produce. I have most of the dry goods and canned food left over from Miami when I provisioned up there. Now I'm just trying to get some healthy food in the rotation. So I'm going to do water, gasoline, and then groceries as the last stop. So we'll take you in here through Rock Sound and show you around. All right, so I got my hiking bag here. I've got grocery list on the iPad, some cash, and then my phone in a waterproof case. So we'll get that stuff loaded up. Have a bottle of water in there already, and my keys, and I think I'm ready to go. All right, just got the water filled up, about 14 gallons there, right next to the Stepping Stone, which is a fun conch bar. They have conch salad, scorched conch, conch fritters, conch skin. They've got about everything conch. They have fried barracuda and I think one other thing on the menu there too. Local guy named Gino, really nice guy, good food. So that's where Rock Sound. There is a water spigot down here. There's the church, about another 100 yards south. So I just got into Rock Sound here, tied the dinghy up to Frigates. They have a dinghy dock there that's free to use. It's a nice restaurant there. And so now I'm just walking in towards the grocery store. It's probably quarter mile, half mile into town, and gonna pick up some, some of that produce, some eggs and onions, fresh food type stuff. So this is inside of Rock Sound. It's a pretty quiet little town, but they got everything I need, so I love it here. There's the old Kalik Brewery. to the boat. Alright, just went in and got some conch fritters at a local place there. It's called the Stepping Stone, I believe. It's right next to where I get my water. So these are fritters. It's little dough balls with conch, tomato, celery, onions, and I think another vegetable. I'm not sure what it is. And they fry them up into these little dough balls, and they're great. I was also talking to him about fishing, and so he gave me some conch slop, which is pretty gross stuff. That is the innards of the conch, or the leftovers. And so I've got a couple lines out the back, my main fishing rod, and then just this little handheld line with some conch on it. He told me to cast the conch shells out. He gave me 3 or 4 of them, and so I just threw them out there, and he says that smell brings in the fish, and so hopefully I'll see if I get a tug on the line here. Yep, you know what that is. You know what those are. It's guacamole time. Alright, so I just got back from spearfishing this morning, and I got my first 2 lionfish. So these guys, if you don't know, these are invasive species, and you're more than welcome year-round to take them. And they don't have any natural predators, and they've been coming in and taking all the food and shelter from a lot of the other fish in the area. So this is both US and Bahamas, that it's kind of open season on these. So I saw these, and it was always a goal to get one. Now you can see I'm wearing gloves here because you do have to harvest them in a specific way. You have to get all the fins off here so you don't get poked with any of the sharp ends. And even on the little guy here, there's just as many of them. So it'll be kind of a delicate process cutting them up, but this should be lunch today. Alright, so I am anchored outside a nice beach here off Rock Sound in Eleuthera, and got some pork chops and some potatoes and onions. Got that stuff diced up and ready to go. I'm going to go in there and get a fire built and then cook some food there, and then hopefully watch the sunset go down this evening. Alright, so I just got here to the beach, and I'll walk you through kind of what I do and what I'm thinking about when I prospect this spot to have a fire. So the biggest thing is I'm coming here to relax and hang out, so I want to be on some nice soft sand, which this area right here, that's good enough for me. And then the next thing I would think about would be firewood, or the fuel for the fire, and kindling. So there's these palm trees all around here, or not palm trees, pine trees. There's pine trees all around here, and right underneath them is this are their dead pine leaves. So these needles are perfect, and what I do is I just scrape the ones off the top. You don't want to dig too far down, because that's when you're going to get some moisture down in there. Just pulling it off the top. These are the nice light dried out ones, and this is great kindling. So walking around a little bit more, this stuff will burn. This will be great to get it started, but this stuff is not gonna make the fire last. And if I want a good hot bed for the coals to cook over, I'm gonna want something a little bit more substantial than that. Perfect. So finding driftwood on the beach is the best thing I can find as far as big thick wood to burn that's going to burn down and make some heavy coals. So we'll pick this up and bring it back to the fire spot. Little pieces, a little bit bigger, medium, larger, my big boards, and then here's just some burnable stuff. So I always recommend separating your firewood pieces, because I'll probably get the pit dug somewhere around here, and I'll want to start with all these guys and then slowly feed it the bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger pieces. That's the best way to get that fire consumption, the wood burning going, and then that's going to give me that hot bed of coals that I can cook over tonight. Woo! Got a little close there. Okay, so we've got a pretty good heat going on, good flame there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go and find a stick to, a couple sticks actually, to put the pork chops on so I can tilt them up over the fire. So since that's pretty hot and I'm gonna go walk away, we'll go ahead and throw on some of these big guys that we want to use as coals later. Try to stack them evenly there. Put him across the top. So what we want to do is have these big thick guys die down where it's like a big chunk of embers, and that's what's going to give us a lot of heat. And then I've got a pan over there, and we'll cook up some of the potatoes and onions, and then I'll get the pork chops set up on a stick over that way. Okay, what I'm looking for here is a green piece of wood, something that's still alive. So these pines have a lot of moisture inside of them. I'm gonna find one of the limbs that stick off right here that's easy to get to. And so what I'll do is I'll take some of this arm here, and that way I can kind of funnel it down, whittle it down on the front, and put the pork chop through. Alright, that'll do for me. And here's the stick, all in all. I guess I could clean up some of these pines off of it, but the idea is to wedge this end into the sand and get the tip just kind of above the flame. Not where it's going to get too charred, but this is going to be a pork chop, so I want it nice and happy there. So we'll kind of figure out a nice angle and we'll see where the flame's at. I'm still waiting probably another 15-20 minutes before I start cooking. We need more of the embers underneath. This isn't quite the good oven, as I like to say. So we'll let this burn down a little bit more, and then we'll start cooking. Okay, so there's a rule about fire starting. If you're gonna have a fire, you gotta drink unless prohibited. So this is, I'll call this the old Jim Huff special. This is my dad. He brought this down when he came down and visited. He said, hey, let's mix up some Ricardo, which is some of the finest rum that you can find here on Eleuthera. This is the top shelf rum. And then this is the Orangeette. This is some soda. So I'm just gonna mix it together. This one's probably not gonna be pretty good because this is just an orange soda instead of using actual orange juice. But you know, we're out here doing it. I'm really not expecting this to taste very good. Yeah, you know, it's better than I thought it'd be. Pretty good. The old Ricky. All right, just got a nice spot to set this down in. I got some coals and embers under there, and then I put some fresh logs right on top to burn and keep the heat going. I'll set these right on top. So it should be maybe, you know, 10 minutes, a little longer, 12 minutes, something like that. We'll see how hot it gets and that stuff burns. Okay, I've got the stick ready, found a nice spot for it, and we'll be able to cook our chop right over there. So I'll get it here in a minute. Now, this thing is getting pretty hot. So the one thing is, if you're gonna touch this, if you're gonna pick it up, you gotta make sure to have your oven mitts, okay? Safety first. Yeah. See what I'm talking about there? There you go. Okay, chop's on. It's over the fire. Now folks, the other thing you want to make sure you have is proper kitchen utensils. You want to have a fork, spoon, fork, spatula, something to mess around with your potatoes and onions here. You got to keep them flipping, keep them moving. Look how that turned out. Well, that about does it, folks. This is dinner tonight. Get that campfire stoked up and hang out, watch the sunset over Wrangler out there.